Okay, so I asked my subscribers, what's the weirdest place you've ever gooned? And I'm very, very, very upset to report that I was not ready for these answers. So we're gonna go through every single one of these together, ranking them from S tier to D tier. With S tier being, this is an amazing place, I see your vision, and D being, you're a weirdo, get some help. So let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. First submission. When I was 19, I wanted to unalive myself. I went to go lay down on the train tracks and get run over. I got bored waiting for a train, so I decided to rub one out while laying on the tracks. Post-nut clarity helped me get off the tracks and get the help I needed. Everything is 1000% better these days, and I have an awesome wife and the greatest daughter a dad could ask for. First of all, I'm really glad that you're still here. I honestly mean that. The fact that you went through something that dark at 19 and now you're on the other side of it with a wife and a daughter you clearly love, that's genuinely amazing. If anyone watching this is going through something like this person's going through, please talk to someone, anyone. Literally even talk to me. You could just comment down below and I respond to all my comments, so I'm here for you, man. And I want you to remember, you matter more than you know. Yes, you watching this video. For very obvious reasons, I'm putting this in S tier because gooning literally saved this man's life. Pretty cool. Okay, next. I was on an in-school suspension and had to spend 2 days in the principal's office to do my schoolwork. I was also like 12 or 13 and was left 100% alone for like 5 hours of the day. So yeah, that happened. Also, people think in-school suspensions are blasphemy. Yes, but they were also common in Canadian elementary schools in the 90s. Okay, first of all, 5 hours? 5 hours alone in the principal's office? That is a profound failure of supervision on the school's part. Like, what did they expect to happen? Like, you're gonna sit there quietly and do long division for 5 hours? I mean, you're 12 for God's sake. The real villain in this story is the stupid Canadian school districts. Like, why the hell would you think it's okay to leave a kid in the school completely unsupervised? Honestly, this rule really pisses me off, so I'm kind of glad you gooned in the principal's office. And the audacity of this guy to actually goon in the principal's office, I'll give you that. You've got a set of, yeah, so this is going to C tier. Okay, next. We live on a farm, and the way my dad drives directly faces my room. Anyway, one night nobody was home, so I was gooning in my room, foolishly with the blinds wide open. And just as I was finishing, my dad comes up the track and the headlights shine straight into my room, giving him a full illuminated 4K image of my eggplant. Okay, first of all, how the hell do you forget that your blinds are wide open? I mean, that's the first thing you should check before you start gooning. But then I also want to know, did the dad ever say anything? Because there are two possible outcomes here. Either the dad drives past, sees everything, and says nothing for the rest of his life and takes it to his grave, and they both agree via silent mutual understanding to never speak about this moment ever again. Or the dad just decides to bring it up the next morning at breakfast. I don't know which one is worse, to be honest. Do you just get it out of the way or do you just hold it in? That's a tough one. I can't decide. But I'm gonna put this in B tier because the location is completely fine, but he's just an idiot for leaving the blinds open. Next, I gooned on the chairlift of a ski resort. I was a snowboarding instructor working 12-hour shifts. What can I say? Duty called. Okay, I have so many questions running through my head right now, but the first one that comes to mind is, did he plan this? Like, did he look at his shift schedule and go like, okay, 12 hours? I'm gonna need to make a pit stop somewhere around hour 6. Also, since it's a ski resort and people are skiing, I'm assuming it's freezing cold, so was he wearing gloves? And if he was wearing gloves, how does this all work? What makes this worse is the fact that he's a snowboarding instructor. So he's literally a professional and a person of authority at this resort. And the fact that this guy just said, what can I say? Duty called. It's an absolute savage. No apology, no remorse, no nothing. You just gotta give this guy a round of applause. And the fact that he did it on a chairlift, which is by far the most insane location I've ever heard of, this guy's going to A tier. Next, I was 17, working at a fast food place during high school. I was on my break in the bathroom thinking about my manager. She was very attractive and always had a shirt a lot more unbuttoned than the other women in management. Okay, first of all, I want to thank this guy for how specific he is. He literally said more unbuttoned than the other women in management. It honestly sounds like this guy did a comparative analysis, so thank you for that additional detail. But look, fast food restaurants have the most disgusting bathrooms in the entire world. I can't even imagine how many germs are in there. I would honestly rather shit my pants than to shit in one of these fast food bathrooms. They're absolutely disgusting. Plus, the lighting is so bad in these bathrooms, and for some reason, there's always a problem with the locks. They don't always close properly. But honestly, I have a lot of respect for this guy because he did it on his break. He didn't take time out of his shift to do this, which shows he's a professional and he's very honest. That being said, I don't care how honest and professional you are, fast food bathrooms are absolutely disgusting, and for that reason, I'm putting you in D tier. Okay, moving on. I was in 8th grade doing a week of work experience at a local church's graveyard. One day, I just had to goon, so I snuck into the maintenance building, locked the bathroom, and did my thing. 15 50 meters from my grandparents' grave. I'm not religious, but for some reason, I felt the eyes of the Lord staring daggers at my back for the whole week. Oh my God, this is diabolical. This man has absolutely zero shame, none whatsoever. I mean, John Wick couldn't even get this out of me. Most people would take this secret to the grave. No pun intended, but not this guy. This guy typed it up, submitted it, and went to bed like he did nothing wrong. You're literally at a church and doing God's work, and somehow you decide, yeah, this is the time and the place to do it. I feel like this is a major sin, and this guy needs to confess to a priest or something, not to me, but I'm putting this guy in D tier. He has absolutely no shame and no respect for his grandparents. Okay, moving on. This isn't my story. It's about the weird special needs kid in my grade. We were in science class and the teacher was going over the egg drop lab. I looked over and noticed his hand moving up and down under the desk. I figured he was just bouncing his leg until I realized his legs weren't moving at all. Before I could say anything to my friend, he just goes, I know. Word spread pretty quickly after that. The next day, the teacher came in and told us the janitor had complained about egg whites being too difficult to clean off surfaces once they dry. Okay, so quick explainer for anyone who didn't do this in school. An egg drop lab is basically a science project where you build a little contraption, which is made out of straws, bubble wrap, cotton, basically anything you can find. And the goal is to protect a raw egg from cracking when it gets dropped from a height. Okay, so now that I've explained that, this janitor deserves a raise, he deserves a pension, and maybe a therapist. Get me started on this friend who just goes, I know. He doesn't need an explanation. He just says, I know. How long had he known? How long was he sitting there just saying nothing? That's the real mystery of this story. Now, don't get me wrong. Gooning in the middle of science class is pretty diabolical, but the fact that your friend is watching this unfold in complete silence, that's also quite diabolical. I literally don't even know where to put this because there's so many parties involved and they're all in the wrong. Ugh, with B tier on this one. Next, I was driving from South Florida all the way to San Francisco and had to make it in 2 days. I'd run out of ways to keep myself awake, so I started gooning while driving. Didn't even intend to finish. Looking back on it now, older and wiser, I know the move is to pull into a Walmart parking lot first, goon, take a power nap, then get back on the road. Okay, so I feel like I have to make a disclaimer here. Please do not drive and goon at the same time. This is extremely dangerous for very obvious reasons. Now, the fact that this guy has learned from his mistake, I respect that a lot. He realizes that he should have pulled over at a Walmart. That is growth. That is character development. This man is serious about self-improvement, I could tell. But I want to understand why he said, I had no intentions of finishing either. Like, that doesn't make it any better. I mean, finishing would have probably been better because then you could focus on driving instead of gooning. So like, stupid. This is very risky and I'm putting this in D tier because this guy put a lot of lives at risk for his own self-pleasure, so D tier. Next, I worked briefly as a refrigeration technician. Me and my friend got hired to replace around 70 old air conditioning units at this rundown hostel. We split them between us, so I had about 35 units to do myself. We were doing roughly 4 a day, but here's the thing though. In almost every single dirty little bathroom attached to each room, I gooned. Never done anything like that before in my life. This went on for about 3 weeks, 5 days a week. Okay, so the very first thing I noticed is that he said in almost every single one. So 1 or 2 rooms in that hostel were spared. And somewhere out there in this great world of ours, there are people staying in these rooms completely unaware that they're the lucky ones. Now, he was also doing 4 ACs a day for 3 weeks, 5 days a week. This man was systematic. This was not impulsive. This was a routine. He literally built it into his workflow. Replace air conditioning, go to the bathroom, goon, replace air conditioning, go to the bathroom, goon, and repeat. Now, he says that he's never done this sort of thing before, and yet he gooned in almost every single room as his first time. Where does that instinct come from? Like, how do you go from one room to all the rooms in the hostel? I think this guy is clearly capping. There's no way this guy's new to anything. He's a professional gooner. But honestly, I respect the commitment and consistency, and for that reason, this is going to S.